start with your info, introducing you. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Thursday. Is it Thursday
It
already?
is Thursday.
It is Thursday.
It feels
So
like Friday.
yeah, pre-Friday is what they call it. So we're doing this. I'm doing this new tap in. I'm trying to learn my lingo. I am now at 35, 36 actually more. So I got to learn the new lingo to try to keep up. But today, I'm hoping you guys are. We can make this a little bit exciting. I know it's not always the sexiest thing to talk about when you start talking to lawyers and things like that. But if you're an entrepreneur, this is really going to be very fruitful and beneficial for you. And like I was telling Michelle, and like I mentioned earlier, is understanding how to really insure your business, insure your products, insure your services correctly can help you in the long term. Because if not, it leaves you susceptible to someone can intercept your idea, your product, your service, take it over, and even go trademark, copyright it to the extent to where basically steal your idea. That even though we want to be truthful, we have to understand that these things can occur. So I was able to connect with Michelle. Definitely, we're going to drop her TikTok info. I believe that's how I caught you a little bit, and then I kind of went down the rabbit hole of that and Instagram and. I really enjoy what you're doing in the space because, like I said, if it was born, I would have, I would have swiped up on you real quick. But it was very very fruitful, and I don't even have a tangible product, so I know if I enjoyed it, I thought it would be great to come show you. So Michelle, she is an attorney, so please share a little bit about your background, and then we can kind of go into talk a little bit about trademarks this evening.
Sure. So my name is Michelle, obviously. I'm a small business attorney in Florida. I'm barred in Florida. Um, I worked with the government first before striking it out on my own in 2019, opening Wilson Murphy Law. We practiced trademarks, copyrights, business entity formations, contract drafting, contract review, um, responding to office actions, all that good stuff. And then I branched off with a more budget-friendly option through the CEO Legal Loft, which it has like legal resources for small business owners, contract templates, toolkits, ebooks, all that good stuff for people who can't afford an attorney quite yet, but they still want to be protected. So that's what I do. That's my background.
No, I love it. So this idea of trademark. First of all, just personally, what's the difference between trademark and copyright?
Yep. So a trademark it protects like a name, a slogan, logos, colors, sounds. Those are ones that are kind of one-offs that you don't see that too often. But the main ones are names, slogans, and logos. And so it is a source identifier. So when you walk into the store, you're going for a certain product because of that brand name or their logo, or you see a specific color that they use. And so that is what a trademark is. Now, copyrights they're bigger works. So works of art, music, books, literary things, dramas, choreography, software, I believe can also be copyrighted. And so that copyright and trademarks too, but copyright and trademarks, as soon as you're using that word or you've put that ebook on paper, you're automatically protected. What isn't automatically protected, like what you can't do with those without registering, is sue in federal court. So if somebody is caught, if you catch somebody copying your work or using your name without your permission, you can't really do anything about it, especially within the copyright realm. Trademarks, they have state law. Each state has their own laws with common law trademarks. So you can't, you might be able to get something from there, but you can't sue in federal court with your trademark unless you have registration.
So with trademarks, it's kind of like the gentleman, the Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy on boxing. That would have been a trademark. And immediately as you were speaking through examples, I was thinking about, okay, all these people who are doing T-shirts and all these different names like Dynamite or something like that. If I don't even think he trademarked that, but I don't think he did that. But if he did, that would be a trademark, not a copyright. But really, you think about how people use things that they say every day. I don't know if you follow him, New Age CEO. He has the entrepreneur, or I'm sorry, rapper, athlete, entrepreneur crossed out. Would that kind of fall into, because that's his brand, but would that kind of fall into the trademark not being able to place that just anywhere?
Yes, but if you're using it on a T-shirt, and this is where things just get so
it's nuance.
Yeah. So if you're using it on a T-shirt like that, the trademark office might find it to be just merely ornamental, and your trademark wouldn't go through if it's like splashed across a T-shirt, right? But if it's like, the polo horse, it's a little something smaller, then they would consider that, they would take that specimen. It's called a specimen. That's your evidence that you're showing to the trademark office, right? Your specimen would get rejected if you just showed them the T-shirt with it across, right? With the slogan across the shirt. But if it was maybe like a little bit smaller, or, you can use different things for specimens, but it is very nuanced. It is extremely nuanced, and people,
everything with the law and taxes are extremely nuanced. So that would beg you the question: how do you know if you should be trademarking something in your business? Like, I hate to say litmus test, but kind of a stress test that you'd be like, okay, if you can kind of get to these couple questions or stages, I would be looking at the trademark.
Yeah. So I would say, number one, are you actually going to be using this trademark for years to come? This is a long process. It is expensive. If you're only going to be using the trademark for a year or two, maybe not worth going through the process. If you're only using it in your state and you're not, national, then you're not able to file for a U.S. Trademark registration. And if you've seen somebody else out there using the name, then it might be time to look into registering your trademark.
Is there a way to say, like, we have a lot of online entrepreneurship growth very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So is it because of how much it's generating that you're like, hey, it's not something you necessarily thought about before, but because your YouTube or because your Instagram or because your TikTok then blew up, and now you got sponsorships, and now you're getting a whole lot more exposure. At what point do you be like, okay, I probably need to trademark this thing as part of my whole process of, hey, I'm opening up a business now? Because that's usually what happens, right? These people blow up and then they get kind of thrust into entrepreneurship. And they're like, man, I was just having fun. Y'all want meetings and stuff. So what is a good way to kind of identify in that situation?
So I would say, obviously going viral, you definitely should probably look into talking to a lawyer and figuring out all of that intellectual property, like what you need to do as far as that goes. You do have to be using whatever name or slogan that you're using to get your registration, but you can file like an intent to use application, which means you're just going to be holding the name until you're getting your merch ready or your product ready or your service. You're getting ready to put that out. But yeah, a lot of the times I feel like people, like you said, they just get thrown into this virality of something and they don't really know what to do with it. And a lot of people miss their mark, unfortunately, because at the end of the day, you go viral, but that dies down, usually. So
yeah, if you can't, it's your one shot for momentum. If you can't into
it really is.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I was just thinking about a lot of the people that we've seen kind of, they took off from something crazy. So like the young lady on Dr. Phil, Cash Me Outside.
Yeah.
with that, and I'm just trying to think through what are different ways. I'm pretty sure she didn't. She definitely doesn't seem like the type that would be like,
Right.
all right, let me get serious. But I guess an example we all can identify with the Kardashians. They have different products and things that they use. I'm pretty sure there are things trademarked with them.
Right.
Probably not because they say, but more brand and things that they use. Or if you create, so I'm just trying to get an idea of what really falls into this category and
Of like trademark.
yeah. Like,
Oh, so I mean, you can trademark as long as you're using it for whatever. There's 30. How many classes are there? 45 classes, and a class is essentially just a product or a service.
okay.
And so there's different classes for those different categories of products or services. So the one that I work with most is class 41. That is for content creators, course creators, YouTubers, educators. That's the one that I usually fall under. But then there's like class 16. I think that's journals. There's class 9. Usually that's downloadable products. So as long as you're using that, a name, a slogan, a phrase in you're selling something, then you can trademark whatever you want to trademark. As long
the whole point is to protect the misuse of the brand.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, of course, like you said, it varies per state. So
no, U.S. trademarks, like the actual federal trademark, do not vary per state, but there are state laws, like there are state trademarks too. So you have state trademarks and you got federal trademarks.
So if you get the federal, do you really need the state?
No.
Or okay.
No,
so if you can get the federal, that pretty much overrides everything.
Right. But a lot of times a state trademark may be necessary because your product or service isn't under federal products. So like cannabis is a big one.
Okay.
That is not, there's no category for cannabis, but you can still file under the state. And until the government, legalizes it federally, they can still have that state trademark still protected. And then that may be like evidence to show when when it does get legalized, that they can go ahead and get the federal trademark too.
So what would you say? I've identified I really need to start this process of trademarking. You mentioned, hey, you want to get with an attorney. What should I be prepared with?
So I mean, you can come with nothing, honestly, besides an idea and a name, an idea of what you're selling and a name, and we'll file an intent to use application.
Okay.
If you don't use all the things that you're filing under, you can always remove them from the application. But you need to have some idea. And what I see a lot is people have too many ideas and they don't, because you still have to implement. You won't get your registration until you show the trademark office you are using your trademark name or slogan or whatever with whatever categories that you've put on your application and all the services underneath the category. So,
and that kind of speaks to what you were saying with the experience. Like if you haven't been in business long, or if you wait till the business grows a little bit to where you can identify, hey, I always do this, and we're gonna make this I guess a branch under the brand in some places. Because like you said, YouTubers, influencers, you're doing a personal brand. Well, what is it about you that, hey, this is what I want to be known for. This is what I use. This is the consistent thing. Well, it typically takes a little time to identify those nuanced characteristics about yourself.
Right. Because we do so for class 41, which is where most course creators and educators and YouTubers are going to fall, bloggers are going to fall under. You have to say okay, you're doing online journals, that's what they call it, online journals, and under the subject matter of, and you have to identify what topics you're talking about. So it can't just be I have a blog. No, you have to be more specific than that. And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up. They just have I think a lot of times people open businesses, or like you said, they're thrown into entrepreneurship, but there's no real plan.
Mhm.
And so then they're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And then when it comes time to like, okay, we got to show the trademark office that you're actually doing what you're saying you're doing, they're like still all over the place because number one, they don't have a team. And I understand I was solo. I just hired a month ago.
Okay.
So I get it. I get that money is tight.
Yeah.
But you gotta make sure that you're saying what you're going to do, or narrow it down. You got to narrow it down to like what you're actually going to be doing, instead of thinking you're going to be doing 20 things and you don't have a team to do 20 things.
Right.
So that's a big thing that I see with small businesses, especially.
So with the
clarity,
you bring up the blog. So blogs typically already have the content out there, right? So over time, they've kind of built this library that they are going through. So like you said, it was kind of emblem. So is it that they sign their stuff a certain way, or they have an interest, or even just a picture that they're known for? Is that the thing that's really getting them as far as in that trademarking category?
So what would be the trademark would be the name of the blog. So Exo Nicole is an example that just like pops up in my head. That her name is Exo Nicole. Her trademark would be Exo Nicole.
Yeah, and
a logo,
if they go out to our blog
incorporated with Exo Nicole, that would also be the trademark.
Okay. So the legal way, or it's almost, I guess you could say, or another way of looking at it is the legal way of kind of like documenting your name. Like everybody wants a website of their name, I guess you could say, but you can't always get that domain, right? And so if somebody already has it, and I don't know, maybe you have a great new exciting YouTube channel, personal brand, and you got a website, but it coincides with a name that Nike wants to use for a new shoe. Well, they can really kind of buy you out, or they have to kind of buy you out to give you the right to it. But if you trademarked
it depends.
Well, they could get to it
because Nike sells shoes.
Okay.
You
so
might
they have to prove
it. You might be a tech. Those are two totally different areas. So the trademark office is going to look at the name and what services and products you're selling. If the services and if somebody has the same name, but the services and products you're selling are totally and completely different, there is a thing called related classes. So some related classes would be class 41 and class 35. Class 41, again, educators, content creators, blogging, that type of stuff. And class 35 is like business services. They consider those two related classes. But say you have like journals and restaurant services are not related classes. They're totally different. So again, companies like Delta Airlines, we got Delta Faucets, two totally different companies.
So it could actually fly.
Yes.
Because they're two different. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of nuance to it. So you come in, you have an idea, but you probably should have a better idea of how it's going to be used, or the utility of it, and even evidence of the utility of how you plan to use the brand.
Eventually, yes. You do have up to 24 months. I believe it's 24 months to show use.
Okay.
So you got 2 years. You got more than that, because once you file the application, you still have to be approved by the examiner, and that's taking right now like 9 to 10 months.
Due to the pandemic, or just it's always been this It due to the pandemic, or it's always been
due to the pandemic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say it's slow. Anything government right now is not exactly sweet. So you could have get the whole conglomerate by the time.
So it's 3 months just to pick it up from an examiner. The whole process itself can take up to 18 months if you're in use. If you're not in use, it's up to you to show, because we're waiting. Once they approve you as an intent to use applicant, that means you're not using the name at all yet. You're just holding it. As an intent to use applicant, the trademark office is going to approve the trademark. Then they're going to say, okay, you still have to show us evidence though. So they're waiting on you now at that point to show the evidence. So it could take up to 18 plus another 24 months if you aren't showing the evidence that you're supposed to be showing. So it's a whole thing, but I think a lot of times businesses come to me and they just don't have that clarity yet of what they're actually selling.
Okay. So it's too early, typically.
I wouldn't say it's too early because it's actually a good thing that you're saving your spot so nobody can come in behind you and try to do it. But it's a thing of not planning well.
So you mentioned kind of the expensive, and obviously in the personal finance community, how work at this, I know it's probably broad because obviously you got books and courses and names and all this, but is it the time that you're spending money on it, or is it that different classes just cost different amounts?
So one thing, I mean, if you hire an attorney, everybody's attorney rate fees are just totally different.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then, and like you said, the classes is also another thing. If you are an intent to use applicant and you keep filing extensions, that's another cost. When you're an intent to use applicant and then you finally show that you're using your evidence, that's another cost. So it is a very wide variety. And then there's other things like office actions. Say that there is an issue with your trademark. You have to argue it. You may have to argue because there's different types of office actions. You may have to argue, make legal arguments that why your trademark should still be able to go through. That's another cost. Like there's oppositions. Things can go to trial. Like there's a lot going on that can happen in the process of you trying to file a trademark.
So I'm just thinking about a normal person. What would you say the value of the investment is?
I mean, it depends on where you see your business going, right? So like, are you going to be in Target? Are you going to be a Marie Forleo and Amy Porterfield and Exo Nicole, like a big block? Like what is where, because we can only do so much as the trademark attorney. We're just protecting the brand. Right. You got to do the marketing and all the other stuff to put yourself out there to make this brand how it needs, to make it blow up essentially. Or, if maybe you want to keep it a small company, that's totally fine too. But as far it's invaluable because you can keep it for forever. Mm-hmm. As long as you're paying your renewal fees and as long as you're using the mark, like you said, you're using it in your application. I mean, your trademark can be around long after you're dead. So,
yeah, it's definitely cool thief stuff. What would you say was some of the issues that you've seen come up with trademark? Because I went around trying to see if I could find just some specific examples of where this happened. I know there is some. I just couldn't pull it up. Maybe.
The main thing is likelihood of confusion. Always. There's already a trademark there's already a registered trademark or an application that's pending and it already has a name that's similar to yours. I get those all the time. I don't get them, but because I do my search and
to find out. Yeah.
I know from the beginning whether or not it's going to be an issue. But people come to me because they don't know how to do the searches properly. They file the application and now there's already somebody out there that has a name that's similar. And now they have to argue why they should be able to get their trademark through. That's one thing. Another is it's called merely descriptive. And that just means that your trademark is literally describing whatever product is that you're, selling. So I like to use like creamy ice cream. That would not be able to, it can be trademarked, but there's, again, certain nuances as to how to get that trademark. Sometimes you do have to do the legal argument. Sometimes you can just show acquired distinctiveness. That means that you've been using this trademark for 5 years and people know you buy this trademark. So now it is become, it's now distinctive and not descriptive. So those are the two big ones that I see in my practice. And I think most trademark attorneys would agree with that.
So, because I think that's even, you mentioned the search piece. Most people search their business name, or they try to search their business name before really kind of opening up or trying to file or what have you, because they don't want to get too deep. And then they got this big following, like, oh, got to change.
Right.
So you would suggest, while you're searching on the business side, possibly adding into that search, hey, does anybody have any trademark? Even if you're not thinking of that, because maybe you haven't formulated your business plot yet, but just to know if that's aware. But then if it isn't, that could be your piece of maybe you could use the trademark, and that's what people know you as, and that's what you brand your business with. But maybe they have a shell company, and what I was thinking, Dave Ramsey, he has Financial Peace, right, with the financial courses.
Yeah.
Right. And people know him for Financial Peace and Every Dollar and all these different things. But when people, if you were to look up or who's the overall, what's the business name? It's the Lampo Group. So what is it possible you can have a trademark? It just doesn't match what the actual business is, but you're like, hey, I want people to know me by this.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And this is available. It's just not available as a business name. So, hey, I'm gonna use this as my trademark, and I can get this.
Yeah.
But, not go by the business name.
Yeah. So my one of my trademark is the CEO Legal Loft, but my company's name on sunbiz.org is Michelle W. Murphy LLC. That, like, your name and your business name and your trademark don't have to match each other. That doesn't matter.
So you sure. What else? What would you tell? Obviously, people who this is new information and a new idea. Well, not even an idea, but it's a new way of really evaluating your business and structuring it correctly. Really, that you would advise within reason, because obviously your attorney, we don't want to take too much of your free advice, but that you would advise, like, hey, if you're gonna do this, look at these things first. Obviously, you said get an attorney, be prepared, even do the search. That was another
do the search.
Have a plan.
That's the biggest thing. It's like I think a lot of people come to me thinking that I'm supposed to do that for them, and I'm like, no, you gotta have. This is your business. You gotta have the ideas, and you gotta relay it to me what that idea is, and then I can find what category that it's under.
Right.
But you can't just kind of give me something. And what I see with a lot of coaches, bless their hearts, is that, everyone has their frameworks, right? I need it in the simplest form. I don't need whatever thing you've made up. I need what you're actually doing. So, you've done all these whatever words that you want to use. Okay. So you're a content creator who creates things in the topic about so and so and so. And I think sometimes people just, because you're so in your head that you're not able to relay in basic terms what you're doing, because you think that everybody else knows what you're doing, but we're not in your head. Like, we just need you to break it down as simply as possible. Just making sure that you can, and honestly, that's how you need to relay your message to anybody, because
clear.
You got to be clear. Because we're not in your head, and if I don't know what you're selling, I'm not buying it. So
know what you're selling, know the intended use, know how you plan to use it, and these are things. I know she said you could come without anything, but you might want to write that down. And bring that to be like, hey, this is what I got, rather than try to explain, because entrepreneurs, the mind and the attention span just be all over.
Exactly, it is.
It's nothing wrong. That's why you're an entrepreneur, right? You got the idea. But when it comes down to the operations, the structure, and like you said, in order to help someone, like you said, if you have a plan for how you intend to use it, and kind of where your business is, you search as best you can, or you attempted to search
Right.
to see if it's in use. That can at least get you in the door for intent to use.
Yeah.
And then once you get to intent to use, then you follow through of actually using it. And throughout that, and if I understand just based off our conversation, as you're going through the application, you realize, oh, I'm actually using it this way. Maybe the application can be altered or adjusted. Nope. So you got to start from the beginning. You got to start from the beginning. But at least you'll know how you're using it at that point.
Right.
Where, hey, I start this way. You're right, because it might change to a different category depending on how you use
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
That's why you might have to start over. But at least you know. If you're in business now, obviously, and if you have sales, and your sales don't have to be large, but if you realize, and again, from this pandemic, a lot of people have opened up businesses to even cook or resume writing or so many different things you've seen, and you take it to online and you've gotten these online orders and people are paying you, and this is what you want to be known for, or you see that this is
what you're
the quick adoption that people are starting to know you for. That's where you might want to look at, okay, I might want to sit down with an attorney because of how this is being used, and for, again, the long-term piece of the process. And like I said, this is one of the pieces that, for me, when I hear about copyright, when I hear about trademark, when I hear about getting your LLCs, all those different things, those are insurance pieces to your business, is to make sure that it stays your business, because the way our free market is, it can get picked up very quickly.
Yeah.
And most people, they might give you something because they know you're already operating. But I mean, before we close, I even want to think just for a second, the whole McDonald's, the founder's story. I know it might have been some elaborate parts in the movie, but there was a point where he actually took over the business and told the people that he learned it from that they can no longer use the golden arches, and they took down their sign and actually looked run down when they got through with it, which basically tells me now that I'm like, oh, they didn't have control over the name and brand. He found someone, they worked him, they put him in a contract, he found a way out of the contract, and then grew quickly to where he could buy them out. But had they had ownership of the name, and I think they even signed over rights on the name of the brand, but had they had that better control of that, because of how much he was worth now, they probably could have walked away with more, or he would have had to maybe pay for use of that name, because he obviously had way more stores than there one at this point.
Okay, I see. I don't know the backstory, so I
yeah. Well, yeah, that's essentially what happened. It was one store, and then they, like the old school McDonald's, one big arch, all that. They came up with the brand. He eventually learned the process and saw it as a franchise opportunity. The big light bulb moment is a movie where he realized, hey, you need to buy the land, because they had him in a contract and he wasn't making much money on it. But they realized by controlling the land, he could control the tenant, he could rent out to whoever was a franchise owner, and that's where his money was going to come. But in the process, which gives him more stores to put up, but in the process, it got him out of the original contract he was in to where he could grow a lot quicker. But I just remember at the end, they did, when they tore everything down, they let them keep their restaurant, but they came in, they took the signage off of it, and a couple other pieces I just remember them telling them, hey, you, as a part of this deal, you can no longer use this name and all the things that go with it, because they wouldn't want the customer to identify it differently than what he's established.
Gotcha.
So that might be a different form of law, but no, it's cool. So Michelle, man, I definitely appreciate you coming through, sharing in some of your great legal advice. You mentioned before, but definitely I want to let you give you some space on. You have your own firm, and you can only help people in Florida, or
So I can help with trademark and copyright registration all over the U.S. and internationally, as long as they're, trying to protect their business in the U.S. And then I can do LLC formations in Florida. I don't do corporate corporate formations at all. And I can do contract drafting, contract reviewing in Florida.
wow. So if you're doing business in Florida, if you maybe you live in Missouri but you're buying real estate in Florida, or you got a few properties down in Florida, that type of thing. Okay. And then also, where can the people find you? I'm gonna link some of this info down below and put it in the group as well, but just so people can hear from you.
Yeah, so you can find me at www.wilsonmurphylaw.com for the firm, and then www.theCEOLegalLoft for CEOLegalLoft.com for the legal resources, the toolkits, contract templates, all that good stuff. And then I'm on Instagram as the trademark attorney _, and then on TikTok, I'm just the trademark attorney. So,
and I sped right past it, but can you talk a little bit about those resources that you offer on that site?
Sure. So on the CEO Legal Loft, I have kind of 4 main offers. I have the LLC launch, which is an ebook that I created, and it's going through how to form and maintain your LLC, like the documentation that you need to make sure that you're keeping your personal separate from your business, and then kind of what to do after you've actually formed the LLC. And then I have the CEO Legal Kit, which is literally like a foundational guide for business owners, mainly online business owners. So it goes through, obviously like the formations and that good stuff, but we also talk about like chargebacks and refund policies and the contracts that you need to sell online. And it has templates in there. So refund policy templates, a chargeback response template, your legal disclaimers and your disclosures, ADA compliance, which is a huge thing right now. And it's probably only going to get bigger for your website. And then I have contract templates that I sell in the shop. So I have like privacy policies, website terms and conditions, independent contractor agreements, all that good stuff. And then I have a legal membership where you pretty much get everything that I just named and even more, because I'm constantly updating it. And you can get like influencer templates in there and speaker agreements and membership terms and conditions, like pretty much exclusive type of resources that are not on the shop. So that is kind of everything that I sell over there. And it's very reasonably priced for beginner business owners because I know how it is. I've been there. I've done that. So
no, it's definitely important. Like I said, with the contract piece, because obviously if you're in the influencer online business, but a lot of people are doing memberships, a lot of understanding, how you want to charge, but you don't necessarily know how to make it compliant.
Right.
That's the key. You know what I mean? You want to make sure you're legal. And obviously all these tools that she's offering is added representation of you. It gives people confidence in doing business with
Exactly.
you when you have.
Absolutely. I have not worked with people because I look at that contract. If it's a 1-page contract, see you later. I'm not signing.
Yeah. And that's just, entrepreneurship, man. Like when you're in business, you do have to understand there are just strengths and there are weaknesses or opportunities that you just have. And the legal piece, especially when you're dealing money online, you got to have a refund policy. You got to have that in writing, and you need to know, because I don't know if you were aware, but there's two entrepreneurs in Atlanta for the HBCU. They got a clothing brand, and they took all these orders, and they're not fulfilling them. And there are people who, before even Black Friday, because Black Friday did like a big sale for like 1 million. And they were excited, and they were on all these podcasts and all that. So they're great salesmen, but their operations, they did some things, but the operations is where they had an opportunity. And so a lot of people were trying to support and have things and purchase, but they're holding a lot of people's money, and these people have not gotten their product
since Black Friday. Wow.
Even before. So that's one of those things that I'm saying, like, if you're holding something for somebody, that contract language, that lease agreement, that membership, how are you going to refund? Are you going to let somebody out? Are you letting them in? Like, they're giving you their debit card information. You need to be tight. Credit card information, whatever you're using as payment methods.
Yeah.
You really do need to be tight on, okay, there's deposit, or hey, if you don't reach out by X date, and then it can't be what you want to say. It has to be what's appropriate that will protect you.
Exactly.
Like, that's the point. You don't want somebody to be like, well, you didn't tell me this, and a $25 purchase turns into a 0.25% of your business.
Right.
So no, it's not to scare people, but these are things that actually happen. The hot coffee thing with McDonald's. There's so many different opportunities, but that's the one thing that, while we're trying to build ownership, and I'm all about entrepreneurship and people striking their ideas, but I will say, in this new age, the biggest opportunity we have is to tighten up on our operations, and that will elevate our products and services higher, because people have more confidence. That's what people mean about service. Like, that's all they mean. It's not that you charged them; it's you didn't let them know. Like, there is no clear description. So that's it. I definitely appreciate you guys. Like I said, I'll link her information down below if you're on YouTube. If you're in the Facebook group, definitely going to shout that out. I know it's a little late, so definitely post it tomorrow and throughout the day so you can connect with her. And I would encourage you as well. I'm gonna put her TikTok information, her IG information, all that along with those websites. The TikTok was just helpful because of the educational aspect that I found, and I think there will be some value for you there as well. But definitely reach out to her, and as she said, she can help you if you're in the US. So feel free in this virtual environment to connect. Can't wait to see you guys in that next vid.